Crazy.
All right, so friend of the channel, Drake.
Oh,
Drake is a certified friend of the channel.
all right.
Um, he is. We have talked about Drake on this channel several times. Last week we had a Drake topic. Drake is a fascinating human being, I think, and he has provided us with more content for the channel. Drake has now voiced his thoughts on why he, at least for now, doesn't see marriage in the cards for him. He believes that it's an ancient notion or an ancient concept or something of that nature. But of course, because we provide context for all of our topics on this channel, we will go ahead and read from this so that Drake can speak for himself. Now, this article, Drake is big right now because he's currently on tour. I think the name of his current tour is called "It's All a Blur." There's all kinds of shenanigans and tomfoolery going on Drake's tour. Women throwing panties and bras at him on a nightly basis. All kind of shenanigans
You
going on Drake's tour. And recently, Drake took a break from the tour to talk about personal stuff, I guess. So this article says Drake doesn't want to get married, thinks it's ancient. Drake took a break from his lengthy "It's All a Blur" tour to talk with podcast host Bobbi Althoff. Not sure exactly how to pronounce that. Althoff. Hope I'm saying that right. The pod environment is very peculiar. The rapper and Althoff are both tucked into a bed with drinks in hand, just chilling and shooting the breeze in an informal setting. In their conversation, Drizzy talks about everything from the origins of his stage name to the rapper introducing the young influencer to Tyga. He also gave his opinion on marriage, calling it something from ancient times.
oh.
I don't think I can offer somebody what they'd be looking for, Drake says. Being completely honest, my work is my priority. He cites how there wouldn't be any consistency with a long term committed relationship because of how busy he is with his hip hop career. I wouldn't want to not be able to contribute as a partner, Drake says as Bobby tries to finish his sentence with sleep around instead. He also gives one glib reason because I'm not Amish, to which Althoff responds, "What do you have against Amish people?"
Hmm.
So we will go ahead and just play this clip. This is a clip from this interview on that was on Neighborhood Talk off of Instagram, and so it was embedded into the page of this article. And so we'll go ahead and hit play, and then we will, of course, opine on what Drake had to say in this exchange overall afterwards.
Fair use. Fair use.
Did you write that?
Why'd you get married?
Why not? Why didn't
Why
you
do
get
people
married?
get married?
Why didn't you get married?
Um, I don't know. It seems like not too, like I don't know. It seems like a thing of like ancient times or something.
You're
Maybe.
never gonna get married. You just said that earlier. You said you were gonna get married to someone who wasn't famous earlier.
Yeah.
So they
I
just
think I
told you.
will eventually. You asked me why haven't I gotten married?
Yeah.
The truth?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I can offer somebody what they'd be looking for. Like just consistency. I think
Just
my work is my priority.
mm,
So then I don't I wouldn't want to not be able to
sleep around.
contribute as a partner. But
Sleep around. Don't lie. We
obviously,
know what people
glimpse
do.
into what your relationship is like,
That's
Judgy,
not. Don't do that.
Judge Larry.
Don't call me Larry.
Um,
So you don't want to get married because you want to sleep around.
well, no, I don't want to get married because like I just don't want to disappoint someone, and like I'm not like Amish.
What do you have against Amish people?
I don't. It's just like I needed something to rebuttal the fact that you're saying that I'm basically like a.
Oh man.
All right, so there you have it. That Althoff, Bobby Althoff, she was all stoic. I don't know if that's her shtick and if she does that on purpose
It is.
or whether
Yeah.
that's how she actually is. But Drake, trying to be the reasonable, conscientious, compassionate person, saying that he wouldn't be able to contribute as a partner. Uh, and saying that, marriage is from ancient times. So what did you think about that exchange there?
Um, yeah, I agree with his stance there. I think that from the numerous conversations that, or at least the one that we had from his wedding ring necklace thing, yeah, it just doesn't seem like something that's in his cards that he seriously wants to do, at least at this point. And he verifies that in his statements here. So, and yeah, he can't give a woman what she wants. She hit the nail on the head when she was like, or because you will still want to sleep around. It's like, well, yeah. And she will leave because I was cheating. I only have to do it once. I'm gonna do it more than once. And so long as she got one on record, it's a wrap for me. And she can just, I can't do this. Why? Because he cheated. 3 years ago. And she can call that, and ain't no statutes of limitations on that. And the marriage is over, and it was his fault. So why would he do it? So and we speak about this all the time about dudes that are financially well off. It doesn't behoove them to get into the institution of marriage, because the institution is for someone who is of a lower class, if we all want to be honest. So he doesn't have to do that. He's in a class where he doesn't have to get married. So yeah, I agree with him there. And one thing before I go, well, let you go. So, and this is an interview that was kicking up so much dust. People upset that Drake did this interview with this Bobbi girl instead of doing it on their podcast or their morning radio show. And it's like, listen, Drake don't do stuff like that. When has he ever done anything like that? He doesn't do that. That's not part of his brand. And he'll be watering down his brand by getting on your sloppy morning show with your stupid questions. So he's not going to go do that. So what he is going to do is talk to Lil Yachty. What he is going to do is talk to this little Bobbi girl. And who is she? She's new on the scene. What is she doing? A dry humor that's cutting edge, possibly. The new type of humor that millennials or Gen Zers can identify with. So he's tapping into a new thing. This is part of his marketing. This is part of his brand. So no, he's not going to do nothing archaic like your goofy morning show where you're looking for some goofy soundbite. He's going to do a serious but not serious interview where things that he says could be taken as humor. Roll off back. He wasn't really being serious. Are you serious? That whole interview was satire. So he does stuff like that. So to me, again, brilliant PR department and all that stuff. Hey man, let the boy have it. But all those pods out there that's, you know what I'm saying, all sour and all this other garbage, the hell with it. Let the boy make his bread. He's writing a blueprint. Maybe other people should follow. But how about you, sir? How do you feel about this situation here, man? Do you think that Sir Drake's got a point about not getting married?
He definitely has a point, but I also think that the host called him out on his bullshit. Like, he's trying to make himself seem redeemable by saying that he doesn't want to get married because of his career and that he wouldn't be able to contribute as a partner, to use his words. But let's be real. The real reason why he doesn't want to get married is because he wants to be able to be with any woman he wants when he wants. And being in a marriage would make doing that not as easy. If Drake knew, first, we talked on Drake on this topic before, and I've said I don't think Drake actually wants in his life the things that he raps about, because he raps about, because Drake does a lot of vagina rap. He does a lot of vagina pedestalizing in his music, puts women way up here. They should be worshipped like Wonder Woman or some shit. And and within those lyrics, he often laments on how he experiences dissonance because he lives this fast hip hop lifestyle, but intrinsically yearns to be with someone if it's someone who he can trust. And I've always said, if he really wanted to do it, he could. It is within Drake's power to find a woman who he can trust. It is. It really is. He just won't do it because it's not what he actually wants to do. But it sounds good to make music suggesting that it is something that he would do if presented with the opportunity. And I think that that's complete and utter cap. He wants to be able to slur it up with as many women that he wants for however long he wants until he can't do it anymore. And
Right.
here's the thing about that. There's nothing wrong with that. That is perfectly okay.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
so when she says sleep around, she's absolutely correct. And that's why he had that awkward, goofy ass look on his face and started nervously laughing when she said that, because he knows that that's the crux of the whole thing. It ain't got nothing to do with his focus on his career or or um or wanting to contribute as a partner. Because if he wanted to get married, he could find a woman who was willing to put up with however much focus he has to devote to his career, who would also allow him to contribute as much as he's willing to. He'd be able to find that. These women would give up life and limb to be with Drake. A lot of them out here, they would. So him being able to secure that would not be a problem in my opinion. But it sounds better for him to say that than to say, I want to continue to be able to smash bitches until my shit falls off, which is what the truth is and which is what she said. And like I said, that's perfectly fine. It is well within Drake's right to continue to slur it up. More power to him. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to give Drake credit for this. More dudes need to follow Drake's model. We talk about women being hypergamous and just kind of being some, we call them modern, you call them moderns, right? It's a particular type of mentality. I say that women, a lot of women, not all, so disclaimer, not all, but there's a fair amount of women today who operate in the dating space from a masculine standpoint. They keep options open at all times. They keep many men on rotation and they use them for different purposes, inherently making them untrustworthy. And a lot of the rhetoric that's going around as we dissect this modern dating pool is this fallacy that women are inherently that way. Now, if you want to believe that, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to stop you for thinking that, but I just don't agree. I think that women are made into monsters by men who don't operate from the code that Drake does, which is stop running these chicks through the mud. If you know you want to be out here slurring it up, and you're not really trying to be with one chick because you want to be with all the women in the world and you want to have all your options, stop getting married. Stop getting girlfriends. Just keep doing this stuff. Because whether you want to believe it or not, most women in the world are not okay with their dudes doing this. They're not. They don't want to be with a guy who's going to be doing all of this stuff. They really don't. In a perfect world, they want a guy to be a one-woman man, preferably them being that one woman. That's what they want. So when they get with the dude and he's not doing this, and he's running them through the mud all up and down because he's getting into these relationships or he's getting into these legal contracts like marriage, making a solemn vow to never forsake the relationship because she's the only one in his eyes. When those expectations become violated, these women become monsters. And then they start basically doing the same thing to men that they had men do to them. So I think if more guys did what Drake is doing by just opting to not get married, because they're going to honestly live by their truth. Hey, man, I'm not getting married because I'm going to slur it up. There's going to be less women out here who are going to be operating out here as relationship monsters. And, in turn, these women get with other guys who have good intentions and they're being monsters to these dudes. Next thing you know, now these dudes themselves are monsters. And now it becomes this revolving door of relationship toxicity perpetuation in which everybody's being a monster to the other person. And it's like, hey, man, look, if you don't want to do this thing for real, stop pretending. Y'all need to see. And the problem is we have way too many men out here in the world who don't have a code that they live by. See, men today aren't principled and they don't operate by a code. As much as I might not agree with the content of Drake's music, I, at the very least, can respect the fact that by all appearances, he operates by some kind of code when it comes to his views on marriage and relationships. And that code is, I'm not going to put myself in a situation in which my moral compass is compromised because I've made some sort of promise to this chick, even though I know I can't live up to that promise because I want to be with all the women in the world. So instead of doing this, I'm just going to continue to be single until I don't want to be single anymore. That way, I don't have to deal with this moral corruption that I am feeling within me to do what I claim that I want to do by doing the relationship thing, even though I actually don't want to do that. But what we have going on out here is a lot of dudes who don't live by a code. So they get married even though they don't, even though they shouldn't, or they get into cohabitation situations, start having kids and all of this kind of stuff, even though they know that they ain't about that life. They still want to be out in the streets, getting with this chick and get with that chick and doing whatever. So it's like, you want to do these things, yet you submit to this notion of being this one woman guy, and it's just not going to fly. And then you turn the women into monsters, and then the women are out here being monsters, doing monstrous shit. So at least Drake operates by a code, and he is not going to allow himself to be victimized by this dynamic where he's dealing with this cognitive dissonance, wrestling with constant moral ambiguity. And a lot of these guys don't even have moral constraints that they have to wrestle with. They just don't have a code, period. They'll get married even though they know that they still going to be out there doing their thing. And it's just like, hey, bro, don't get married. Just don't do it. But this is what you got. So, the only thing that I'll call Drake out on is I think that he was full of shit talking about how he would do it under said circumstances, when really you aren't going to do it under any circumstances. You just want to continue to, as the host put it, sleep around, and more power to him, because at least he's not leading women astray, making him think that he's something that he's not. And that's what far too many of our fellow men do. They have women believing that they are something that they are not. And then when the truth comes out, the women become monsters, and then they turn other men into monsters, and then those men end up doing the same thing to unsuspecting women, turning them into monsters, so on and so forth. And now we have this back and forth situation where everybody's out here being a narc and being a monster. So I say, Drake, don't ever get married. Get married if you're 80. If you feel as though that's the best thing for you to do, because it is far worse to create more monsters out of these women in the world than it is to continue to be a bachelor well into your advanced age. And don't listen to any of these women out here who want to bully you into making you believe that you're supposed to do that relationship shit when you really don't actually have to. So,
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, he's in a class. Like I said, he's in a class where he doesn't even have to do that. Like I don't know why rich dudes get married. Like it is like it's damn near pointless, especially in today's day and age. Maybe back in the day that could fly, but not now. Like that is not a thing. And so, yeah, back in the day, wealthy dudes, those women stayed. You know, you know. But now that you can live your best life, why deal with rules? I can just leave. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's such a trap. Like low key don't even blame them for just falling into this. It's so available for them to do it. And so yeah, they just get into this lifestyle. Oh, well, you know, didn't work. Well, whatever. So why would Drake even consider it? I wouldn't even consider it. Now, of course, I don't think he's considering it either, seriously. And as you said, he was full of shit when the girl asked him that, but he has to be full of shit. So again, with Drake, everything is brand first. And he can't sit there and be honest about that. He was as honest as he could be. And if he was a little bit too, honest, then I'm pretty sure there's some law of power that he just violated by talking too much. So hey, no, I just need to mature more. Yeah, good answer, Drake.
You're
Good
right.
answer.
Very PR. Very
Yeah,
PR. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
and that was the wild thing about him doing such interview like this with such a person, because her whole brand is catching you off guard. So I saw some of more of the interview, and he was trying to get back at her. He hit her with a couple of zings. He's a real smart ass. So but I still felt like it was low key kind of risky for his whatever. But the machines, I'm sure, had some set final say so in the editing process. So um this, seeing Drake in his most vulnerable state, very awkward in a bedroom. Now, you gotta see what they be doing when they do these things. Why would they sit there and do an interview in the bed? That's an intimate spot. You know, he was sipping on some wine, and he's being awkward and vulnerable. He's being more real. He's talking about things like marriage and other things. And so you connect with him more. This is all brilliant. You're not going to achieve that with DJ Academics. You're gonna get a whole bunch of snot nosed Fortnite playing ass kids. You already got them in the bag. Like, what are we doing? So he doesn't need to do no interview with Cuck 22, Joe Buttons, or what's that Elliot guy? Fuck out of here, man. Who cares
Yeah.
about all you people? Drake is on another level. He's way beyond you guys. He's a pop star rapper, man. So he doesn't need to do y'all little rap pods. So I felt like this whole thing, I felt like it was genius for him. I felt like it was a good play, this whole thing. And again, rich dude get married. Why would you risk your catalog money? Why would you risk any of this? For some chick that's gonna be fly by night, and we already know what his picking, where he's fish at.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this damn sure ain't it either. So
Yeah.
hey man, so long as you can get it up, bruh, ball out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be out there until I'm Hugh Hefner in it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to inject me with some like bull testosterone just for me to get it up. But I don't give a damn. You think I give a shit? I'm still be out there slaying it. What's happening? Because if I were in Drake's position, because who could he trust, honestly? I mean, Bill Gates got. So, hey, man, I'm all for it. I agree with him on this. Damn, Drake. I rarely agree with this bastard, but this time I agree with him. Yeah, he's got a point. I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I just, you can, like I said, you can say whatever you want about the content of his music, but at the very least, he's principled enough to know I don't need to get sucker punched into anything like that. I can keep doing what I'm doing, and there's nothing that can stop me. And I don't understand for the life of me why there are so many of these guys who put themselves in a position willfully to get sucker punched. Like, for a fact, the second you put the ring on this chick's finger, you're going to be seeing other women anyway. You know this. You know it immediately, yet you do it anyway. Why? There's no incentive for you to do this. Like, there's going to be no shortage of women who are willing to do whatever you want because of who you are. So just ride that wave until there's no reason why you shouldn't have to do that. So yeah, I concur with his sentiments, and kudos to him, because definitely his track record, you're not finding there's a short list of women in Tootsie's and 11 who are going to or chicks who serve drinks at Live or any of these other places that he likes to frequent down here, who are going to be the quality woman that you pray tell to speak on publicly. So while that is who you are, Aubrey, best to just steer clear of the situation and just make sure that you do things in such a way that you can remain disease free. That's my whole thing, bro. Just stay disease free. You stay disease free, you got it. But definitely don't get married. Stop selling these chicks a dream, because when you sell them a dream, it has a detrimental effect for other men out there in the world who have to come up and pick up your pieces after you've devastated these chicks and turned them into monsters. So, that's my whole thing. There's a lot of women out here walking around who are monsters, man eaters, straight Venus flytraps. They do not have a soul, because they have had their soul taken away from them by some guy who ran them through the mud because he married them or cohabitated with them while he was still doing his thing, when he just should have never sold you that bag of goods in the first place. So, Drake, at least by all accounts, isn't creating more monsters by via cohabitation, marriage, or any kind of relationship, pseudo relationship situation. Not that we know of, at least, because even if he is slipping up and doing dumb shit like that, he at least has the wherewithal to back himself up with ironclad NDAs. So kudos all the way around to Drake and the way that he approaches these situations.
Yeah, and a caveat, because I know somebody just waiting there. Caveat. So of course we're not talking about, and we've mentioned this before, but we're not talking about the the LeBron James and whatever his wife name is situation where they've known each other since forever. And that situation, there's kind of like you can trust that at least. Now, if you get got by that, then it's like it is what it is. But those are the ones you could trust. But if I'm superstar Drake at age 30, whatever years old, and I meet some whatever woman, wherever the hell I meet her at, she danced a Hotline Bling. She know who the hell I am. It's a wrap. And how can I trust that? So that's what we mean by, in these contexts, rich, well-off people who have already hit their apex, and somebody can smell that money from a mile away, and they come rolling up on them, floating like goddamn cartoon, whenever they smell the pie in the window. And then and you see it coming from a mile away. You feel it. So why would you trust that feeling? You don't. So they don't marry. And I don't recommend those guys to marry. Now, if some guy does marry despite all of that, to hell with it. And it's not like you didn't get warnings from people that's around you, I'm sure, or previous cases that are highly publicized and they're in the news. So it's hard to feel sorry for those people too. What you think? This the special one? Boy, please. So, hey, man, it's a gift and a curse for being in that position, And in today's day and age, if you want to look back at it in old times, bro, you are literally a freaking king. And you can do whatever you want, basically, in the kingdom. And everybody knows your name. So you're not in the same class. So you can't play by the same rules as regular people. So regular people, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all in a situation where y'all can make it work. But these well-off people, hey, man, it's too many vultures in that tank. And there's no telling which one's going to get you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a smart guy, and he's conscientious enough to know, he likes his strippers, his models, his, he likes all of that kind of stuff. Women who essentially make themselves available to the highest bidder. And those are perhaps the least relationship quality person imaginable. And I think he's aware of that. And so that factors into his rhetoric, because he wants to continue to gallivant in those circles with those women, but also knows that there's a price to pay for getting into anything with any of them. So while he still has the urge to do that, best to just keep it single and casual. That's the best decision for him to make. And he's smart for that. He's not an idiot like Paul George or Dion Williamson, or he's not an idiot like any of these people. I can go down the list. Those guys are dumbasses.
Hey, he got by a baby too now. He got a baby on his ass.
He did, but she's a European chick with different sensibilities. It ain't like coming over here and dealing with these weirdo hypergamy chicks over here.
You mean like strip?
Precisely. Yeah, and Drake loves his strippers. And listen to the song on "Take Care." Lord knows with Rick Ross. the first 6 to 8 bars of his verse tells you the whole thing that he goes through with this women stuff. So don't, listen to that, and that'll give you everything you need to know. But like I said, you're not going to go to Tootsie's or Live or 11, Magic City, Onyx. You're not going to go to any of these places like Drake likes to frequent and find this woman who's going to change his mind in terms of, oh, I might actually reverse my ship and decide, oh, maybe marriage is the right move for me. Hell no, that ain't finna happen. So as long as he knows that that's what he likes to do, he's comfortable enough in his skin to be like, I'm not doing this. Versus some of these other simpish, weak men who know that that's what they want to do, but allow themselves to be bamboozled by these BBL clad chicks into getting married to them. Crazy. I don't get it. But Drake has is of sound mind, at least on this front, which is more than you can say for people like Zion and Paul George. So
yeah, BBL clad is crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, BBL. That is exactly what it is. Because I don't know what the hell these plastic fetish people.
Yeah,
get a grip.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you can with that. I don't know what the hell that is. Get some help, seriously.
Yeah, facts on facts. Shouts out for the content, Drake. Keep doing your thing.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.